If you're Microsoft, certainly they are a winner in this equation. This is the company that is the biggest shareholder in OpenAI, and they were also poised to hire Sam Altman. When he initially was fired and then not rehired, and they hired someone else, Emmett Shear, Microsoft said, "All right, well, we'll take him." And suddenly, about 700 of their 770 employees said, "Well, we're going to leave too." So Microsoft comes away as a real big winner here. I'd say Sam Altman and his inner circle also are going to be big winners here insofar as they come back to OpenAI and they're going to push for a real reimagining, an accelerated reimagining of what this company is, what it stands for, and how quickly it pushes toward commercialization and profitability and running itself like a business. This is a company that started as a nonprofit tasked with the exploration, the scientific exploration of artificial intelligence. And it certainly is still doing that. But what you've seen Sam do over the years is push it further and further into the direction of being a business, a thriving business that's growing, attracting investors, bringing in, creating products and lining up customers. And those things sometimes are at loggerheads with something that's more of a scientific, philosophical approach to the exploration of artificial intelligence. And that thing really came to a head with his firing on Friday. So now he comes back, and I think there's going to be an accelerated reimagining of what this company is.
Fascinating. So, Mandeep, come on in. You've been writing a lot of research. Microsoft and OpenAI, do they need each other? Why or why not?
I mean, they absolutely need each other. And the last week has shown how much Microsoft is invested in AI to the point that, they were willing to take the entire staff and, have them as employees. Look, I mean, the original, if you go back, 1 year when Microsoft originally partnered with OpenAI, the idea was they wanted OpenAI to use Microsoft Azure's compute capacity. They wanted, to be that early cloud player that positioned itself well in generative AI. And they did that. It worked. Then they standardized everything, their co-pilots, their search around OpenAI. When you look at the competitors, Amazon and Google, the two competitors in cloud, their growth has slowed down in cloud this year because they didn't have that generative AI, OpenAI aspect of it. And I think it's interesting given how much, Microsoft benefited. This thing happening so suddenly really caught them off guard. And they've probably helped steady the ship, but I still think there's a lot more to come in terms of transparency, why it happened, were there any safety issues that the other board members felt? Obviously, the employees didn't believe in the earlier board, so the board had to change. But I still think there's more answers that will come out in due course of time.
I agree.
And I think that reporting is going to continue to trickle out. So no sleep for either of you guys over the Thanksgiving holiday, although that's not what I wish for you. Hey, Tom, come on back in here. Carol asked you about the winners here. What about the losers here? Are there any competing companies who could have had an opportunity to kind of seize the moment, but now that Altman is back at OpenAI, they lost that opportunity?
Well, I think if you were a competing company and you were, looking on Friday afternoon, the minute he got fired, I am sure that he was being inundated with offers because people see him as a true visionary. They see him as the driving force behind the successes that OpenAI has cranked out over the last several years, but in particular in the last year, and the pace at which those are coming out. But what Mandeep said was really true. When Microsoft partnered with OpenAI in such a dramatic way to the tune of $10+ billion, that really catapulted them to the forefront ahead of people like companies like Google, which should have been, for all intents and purposes, the true leader in artificial intelligence. They had DeepMind. They had their own in-house. This DeepMind is an artificial intelligence startup that they bought in the UK, which was really at the cutting edge of this research. They had their own in-house AI efforts, and they just moved too slowly on generative AI. And so when you saw Microsoft really strengthened his partnership with OpenAI. That really lit a fire under Google, and Google remains on its back foot in all of this. And you're going to see, as Mandeep said, you're going to see Microsoft incorporate not only benefit from OpenAI because of the computing power and its use of their cloud services, but also incorporating generative AI into more and more of their products and making those products, even Bing, the search engine that none of us uses, maybe even making Bing more relevant, not to mention what they do to their business products that are the real lifeblood of Microsoft's revenue stream.
Come on in, Mandeep.
No, and that's a risk, right? So if you look at the Amazon and Google approach, they want to develop their own large language model, and all their products will be driven off of their own large language model. OpenAI is still an independent entity. Granted, Microsoft has a 49% stake.
Right.
But tomorrow, if things fall apart and, again, Sam is back running the company, so you would hope things stabilize. But that's a big risk for Microsoft not having its own large language model.